All right, here is possibly the worst segment that we do. It drives me out of my mind. It's Brian Sack, our public viewer. Hello.
The worst segment that we do.
I mean, it's true.
You're hurting my feelings, sir. Make me sad.
What's happening? What do you have for us today?
What do I have for you today? Well, nice to see you again. Just wanted to say, did a little research after the elections here. I wanted to figure out something called, I like to call the Beck touch.
What does that mean?
That means when what happens when you get a candidate on the show? Because I know, Schwarzenegger and these other guys, other talk show hosts. I mean, like Leno helped Schwarzenegger get into office.
Sure.
Larry King helped various people get in or out, and I wanted to see what Glenn Beck could do for folks.
This isn't going to be pretty.
No, it isn't.
No.
Catherine Harris came on the show, need a little help. Help her brother out. Could you do it? How'd it work out for Catherine? No, sirree. Lost by a thumping, double thumping.
Yeah.
John Spencer came on the show. Can you help Johnny? Help me out, buddy.
I don't even know who John Spencer is.
Nobody did. That was the problem. He came. He ran against Hillary. What can you do for me, Glenn?
This is the guy. This guy was a joke from the get-go.
Now, Rick Santorum, buddy of yours,
Yes.
came in and said, Glenn, help me out a little bit. Put me on the show. See what you can do for me. And what could you do for him? Let's see. Not a lot.
Okay.
Close, but no
That's
Santorum.
the only one that should have won.
Okay, there are a few more, but we won't get into them.
What?
We'll move
You're
on.
saying I'm the anti-Midas touch.
You're the anti-Midas.
Everything I touch gold, it turns to cardboard.
You are the pawn maker.
Yes.
Moving on.
Yes.
Fridays, you got the new format. You got the
Yes.
the 1 hour talk session.
And I bet you love that.
Oh, it's amazing. You got some great statesmen. You had Al Sharpton. You had former Prime Minister of Israel Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yes.
And Danny Bonaduce.
Who I talked to on the radio show today. Yes.
And that gave me an idea for a new game show I want to play with you. And it's called Netanyahu or Bonaduce.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a quote from one of those shows, and you tell me, was it Netanyahu said it or Bonaduce?
Okay. I don't think this is going to be real hard.
Oh, well, let's see.
All right.
Number one, first question.
Yes.
It is, I took 2-gram bottles and filled them with half a gram of cocaine each, then the rest with water, shook them up, twisted them into my nose, stood on my head until my face went numb, and then drove to Mexico. Was that Netanyahu or Bonaduce?
Benjamin Netanyahu. I stand by it.
You stand by that. That's your final answer?
No.
Well, let's roll. No?
No, go ahead and roll it.
I took 2-gram bottles and filled them with half a gram of cocaine each, then the rest with water, shook them up, twisted them up into my nose, stood on my head till my whole face went numb, and then drove to Mexico.
Okay, so that was Bonaduce answer. Number two, next question. This is a quote. My first sexual encounter, and I'm eternally grateful, was to a David Cassidy cast-off. Was that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu or Danny Bonaduce?
I'm going to go with Netanyahu. It's got to be right one of these times.
That's your final answer?
That's my final
Roll
answer.
the clip.
My first sexual encounter, and I am eternally grateful, was to a David Cassidy cast-off.
Apparently it was Mr. Danny
Darn it,
Bonaduce.
I thought I'd be better at this.
And quote number three. This is, they're not from Saudi Arabia. They're, in fact, we had, what was his name? The CIA agent? I can't remember his name. Bob Baer. Now, was that Netanyahu or Bonaduce?
They're not, it's got to be, I'm going with Bonaduce this time.
All right, let's roll the clip and see if you are correct.
They're not from Saudi Arabia. In fact, we had, what was his name, the CIA agent, I can't remember his name, Bob Baer.
Okay,
Oh,
look,
yeah, okay, I guess it was you.
I'm Danny DeVito, man.
A guy that's been on your show how many times? I've got a clip for you just to remind you.
Right.
A little refresher clip, if you will.
All right. Bob Baer, former CIA field officer, back with us. Bob Baer has spent 20 years with the CIA. Bob, you were on the show yesterday on television. You were on the radio show today. Bob Baer, he spent over 20
You get the idea.
I get it. Back more later. Thanks a lot, Brian. See you
Take
next
care,
week.
Glenn.
Bye-bye.